Good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 Economic Recession and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Friday, October 23rd, 2020. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button to subscribe to the Preach to Me channel, where we bring you the latest financial news around the world and in the U.S., unadulterated and unfiltered. Thank you for your support. Today, I want to talk about the battle over this fiscal stimulus package that it's apparently non-existent this year in the fourth quarter. And we know that the economic recovery has stalled out and that there may not be any type of stimulus package until next year, February 2021 at the earliest. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, $1,200 is not going to do much damage, much help for the average American family in any part of the country, whether in the West, the Northwest, Midwest, Southeast, Northeast, doesn't matter. Because today, CNBC.com reports economic recovery could slow in the fourth quarter, which is doing right now, after steroid or fiscal stimulus fades, JP Morgan Asset Management says. You know, as I watch these shows, the pundits on CNBC, MSNBC, Fox News, Business News, they keep saying that, well, if we get a stimulus deal, well, that's already priced in. We've already had two coronavirus stimulus packages, and you can see where that's led us. And we know that the more stimulus money, that the unlimited quantitative easing that they pump into this economy, the more it's going to be hurt and the after effects afterwards. We know that they should have let the system crash in 2008. And by now, we would have been on just about coming on the other side of this depression. But now with this printing of unlimited money, this is going to make the depression even worse, because we're going to have hyperinflation, so many dollars chasing so few goods and services and supplies on the market. So according to the JP Morgan Asset Management, we have seen what looks like a V-shaped recovery, but it's really a V-interrupted recovery. It's half of a V-shaped recovery, right? While half of the jobs lost in the U.S. have been recovered, David Kelly said it's still going to be a crawl until industries shut down by the pandemic can be reopened again. I mean, we're talking about factories closed, airlines, retail, transportation sectors closed. This takes years to recover. It's not going to jump up in a year or two. As a matter of fact, companies said today, a lot of companies, both private and public companies, are allowing their employees to work from home throughout almost to summer of next year. And some even said that they may make it this telework or working from home a permanent change. But the problem is that we just don't have the jobs, okay? Joe Biden is promising to create over 5 million jobs. That's just not enough for this economy in the term if he gets elected, assuming that he gets in. If we get a second term from our President Trump that's in now, we're still looking at a horrible economy. We are darned if we do, darned if we don't, because we're in a catch-22 here. And this stimulus package, we don't have the money, and that's what is stalling now. Remember the House was talking about this. They said the first stimulus package should have been 5-6 trillion. Then all of a sudden it got cut down to 2 trillion. Now they're saying 1 trillion, if that. So it's clear that this recovery has not taken shape here. As a matter of fact, the only good news that we have to report today is that the American jobless claims fall below 800,000 for the first time since mid-March. This is from CNNBusiness.com. So, you know, the unemployment rate has come down a little bit. We're down to maybe 8% overall in the nation. And claims for unemployment benefits inched lower last week, the Department of Labor said Thursday. Still, millions of Americans continue to rely on government aid to make ends meet. My question is, what happens when the rent moratoriums and the mortgage forbearances end in December 31st, which is only, we're talking less than 65, 70 days away now. What happens when more people continue to lose their jobs or benefits stop? The Paycheck Protection Program stops with these people that are getting these government assistance loans through the Small Business Administration. What happens then? The system is not going to be absorb this much shock. Even if they pass the CARES Act, the Financial Stimulus Act, more stimulus is actually harming this economy, because it's going to create more problems in the future for those who do not have a job. We have 60 million people unemployed right now, so creating 5 million jobs is a drop in the bucket. And then you have to ask yourself, what type of jobs are these? Are these high-paying jobs? Are these middle-class jobs? Are these white-collar jobs, blue-collar jobs? Are these just fast food worker and gas station jobs? You go to any city in America right now, I want you to count the number of commercial vacancies and lease openings you see. I'm talking about in affluent areas. I was in Georgetown a couple of weeks ago, DC. The number of retail businesses down there have shut down by half. San Francisco, over 55% of the businesses, small businesses, shut down and they are not coming back. Big Bear Lake, California, the same thing. Las Vegas, Nevada. New York City is a ghost town. Manhattan, the borough downtown is a ghost town down there. Just people doing essential business only. And so while the good news, the claims are falling on unemployment, the bad news is that these unemployment compensation programs are running out of money. The states that chose to give an extra $300 benefits, some $600 benefits that ended back in July, they're going broke. The bad news is your local city, townships, and counties are broke, and they're going to be raising taxes like mad next year, regardless of whether Biden or Trump stays in office. Taxes are going up on Americans at a time where we don't need it, because most of us, if we lucky to have a job, can't keep up with the stuff that we have going on right now between bills and families and everything. And that's just the truth. And you notice how, and I don't want to get into politics, but you notice how we had the debate. I guess it's yesterday night they had the last debate they were talking about on the media and the news. Nobody mentioned anything about the economy. Nobody mentioned anything about these jobs numbers, losing over 800,000 jobs, and what they're going to do to prop up this economy. It was just the stock market, how they want to keep Wall Street propped up, and that's because they're being paid by Wall Street. The corporate party is taking over both the Democratic and Republican entities in America, and that's just the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Now, another thing to be looking out for too is that while those of us we're still in the relative calm period of thing, we still have some time. I still believe we have about maybe close to 2 years before things are getting bad. But when things get really bad, when there's lawlessness in the streets and anarchy in the streets, and this is regardless of people could be coming to your supplies, because then it's going to be about survival, because that's what it's going to be about. And so when the federal stimulus runs out, when the local stimulus runs out, and when they finally decide to crash the stock market and nobody can get any money out the 401ks or the houses or any other property things that they have in the bank, that's when, all heck breaks loose. And so do not count on the stimulus check to come this year. And maybe not even next year, but I'm saying right now we are projecting the stimulus check to come out in February, sometime after January, the inauguration. So we're looking at February 2021 for the next stimulus check. And like I said, $1,200 is not going to make a dent in our lives. It's not going to make life-changing money in your bills. Most people maybe spend it on something and that's it, but it's not going to be a life-changing thing, unfortunately. What we need is manufacturing, production to come back, and more jobs to Americans who are working hard in technology fields and engineering fields and computer fields and healthcare. And our hardworking Americans, our first responders, police, firefighters, that's what we should be giving our jobs to. But unfortunately, they've shipped all that to China, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, you name it. And the rich man, the super rich man, the 1%, upper 1% is not bringing that back over here because they don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to pay retirement benefits for the younger generation. They don't want to do any of that. So that's over. Those days are gone. We're in a new America. And so we have to prepare accordingly, ladies and gentlemen. And what I suggest you do is that you need to think about being more self-sustainable. And what I mean by that is that, say the power goes out. If we have another power go out, thing because people can't go to work because can't go to the plants, hydroelectric plants because of corona, whatever the case may be, you need to get more solar lights, get more solar powered lights, get a generator, get a solar powered one, or get a regular generator that you can get at Harbor Freight Tools or any of these places here. So that way, when the time comes, when things like that happens, you'll already be prepared. Okay. Another thing you want to think about too is that start planning out evacuation routes. If you live in a major urban city, you need to know your evacuation routes, because when times get hard and they start shutting down the roads because of a pandemic or whatever, the regular interstates that we take are going to be shut down. So learn some back ways home. Learn some back side streets home, some different ways home. Don't always take the same way home. Try to find a different way home each time with your GPS or whatever you use. That's something to consider too, because in times of trouble, most people are going to go to the same spots, like the same Walmarts, the same Targets, the same Safeways or whatever. Try to find different stores, little mom and pop stores to support and go to, because those are the people that are going to help you out in times of need. And try to make friends with those people because they're going to help you out in times of need, when you need food, water, supplies, medicine, clothes, any of that nature. And so far, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at a dark and cold winter. Most of the country is going to have an above average winter, but there's going to be some cold spells, speaking of weather, and that means financially too, there's going to be higher heating bills. There's there could even be, what I'm watching for this winter is going to be snowstorms and different things like that that's going to affect the economy, meaning that the budgets these states are going to spend in the Northeast and the Midwest for snowstorm budgets are just going to be blown, and that's going to be more money and more taxes on everybody. And so just be prepared as best you can. We can make it through this, but it's going to be a long haul. We're looking at a 12-year to 15-year recovery window here, and that's fine. We've been through this before with the Great Depression, but this is a worldwide Great Depression, and this is what makes it different. And China is going to be the superpower, and they're on top, while we're United States and Europe is going to have to get used to a lower standard of living. I just don't see how America is going to get used to a lower standard of living, and that means it's going to be painful, a painful adjustment. Not quite third world status, but second world, if you can call it that. But that's what's going to be happening, and so get prepared. Be blessed. This is the weekend edition. I look forward to seeing you guys later on. Please support this channel, and I'll talk to you very soon. Have a great weekend. God bless.